The conversation started happening back in 1979, I think it was, and it started around a table at a typical Lloydminster small town function, which was a sports dinner. And the conversation came up about what Lloydminster needed, and it was a woman by the name of Dolores who suggested a women's shelter in our community.
So I met Dolores Cumming when we were at a meeting, and she said, well, the people that we should be helping are not the single people, but they're the mothers with children and husbands that are abusing them.
Stories started going around the table. What should we do? Well, there's a scout hall, there's a pool we could use. And my mother, with her experience in alcoholism, said, what about a home for battered women?
So that was the beginning of it starting. So then we started to think about getting a place for abused women and their families.
We have a variety of services that we provide. First and foremost is our emergency shelter, and then we also have a transition home that's called our second stage Dalmar Manor. We have community programs that has a variety of supports and programs for women, children, youth, and men as well. We also offer outreach services for community women. So those women who are not necessarily needing to come or choose not to come to the emergency shelter, they still receive those supports outside in the community from two of our outreach workers. We have our youth center that provides supports and services to youth through recreation and programming. And then we have a social enterprise for the Interval store, which is looked at as one of our main fundraisers, and also opportunities to ensure that women and children who are going back out in the community are getting the supports that they need, either through clothing, donations, furniture, household goods, that sort of thing.
Well, as I got to be engaged with the Interval Home, I got to realize how much value they bring to our economic trade area. They provide some, social, health, safety benefits that a lot of people really don't know. And so that's really got me engaged, just understanding the value that they can bring to our economic region.
My heart is working with women coming from abuse and family violence and the children. And what keeps me there is seeing the growth and the changes. And I think the biggest thing is just so many ladies that come in feel that they're never heard or nobody's going to believe them. And when they realize, yeah, somebody actually believes me, understands me.
The success of LIHS is contributed to the whole community of Lloydminster, whether it's the staff, the volunteers, donors, emergency services in Lloydminster, the city of Lloydminster. The community as a whole has embraced LIHS, and that's why it's been successful. It wouldn't be without any or all of those partners.
And I think you'll agree that although the cycle of violence and the things that women and children and families face when they're in that cycle is awful, but we also see a lot of resilience, hope, and inspiration in the work that we get to do every day. So thank you on behalf of all of us. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Like everything we do in the Lloydminster Interval Home Society, it's about relationships, and that includes our funders. We want to build relationships with people. We want to get to know people, our donors, and we want our donors to get to know us so that they can become champions of the society and help us to prevent family violence, interpersonal violence, and homelessness for folks.
So when I think of our community, I can't say nothing more than short of just amazing. The supports we've received in the past and the ongoing contributions that come through, regardless of how that is. We are a community agency and we're essential to our community. So to have our community back, the work that's happening is really appreciated and needs to happen.
Really, at the end of the day, what would be the best outcome of the Interval Home is that they aren't needed, that family violence is eradicated.
The big vision for LIHS is that eventually we end domestic violence, to be honest. As much as it's important to have a shelter at this point, eventually with education and community involvement, hopefully that community violence ends not only in our community, but in society as a whole.
Our community needs the Lloydminster Interval Home Society and the services that we provide. Interpersonal violence and domestic violence is a big issue throughout every community and province in Canada. And to have the services of the Lloydminster Interval Home Society right in our own community it is extremely important and something to be celebrated.
This is a legacy left to us by our mother, not only us, but to the community and to womanhood.
I think I'm most proud that the women are getting help and still are getting help if they need them and their families. The scope of Interval Home now is fantastic. I could never have imagined that it would help so many people.
During my stay at the Lloydminster Interval Home, there was always someone to talk to night or day. I spent hours with these gracious women. They heard me, they saw my pain, and gave me time to feel. I started to feel again, a realization that I did not have to live this way. There was a way out. This put me on a path of healing, and entering second stage provided even more support on my journey. I can now say that I am out of an abusive relationship. I continue to learn about self-empowerment. I honestly wouldn't be here if the Lloydminster Interval Home Society did not exist. I still have an outreach worker that helps me if I just need to talk or need a change of scenery. She's wonderful. She understands me and lets me tell my story. The staff at the Lloydminster Interval Home Society are kind, understanding, and patient. There are many women like me stuck in a bad situation and have nowhere else to turn. The Lloydminster Interval Home Society is a safe harbor from the storm that will continue to exist for as long as there is abuse.